having looked at the fiction itself, let us move on and have a look at some of the lore nuggets. What do we find out about Rokugan from this fiction, and what callbacks are there to previous fiction?
So when Daisetsu encounters the Ronin, they are roasting and eating a deer, which is something we haven't seen a lot of, both in Japan and in Rokugan. In Japan, deer are considered sacred. They're considered divine messengers. In Rokugan, a deer would be the symbol of the deer clan, but Quartz Stone doesn't actually explain why the deer clan picked deer as the symbol for the deer clan. In old lore, deer, or specifically white deer, would carry messages from heaven to the emperor. There's a story of the original kami hunting a white stag, but they find they, together, cannot catch it until Hante goes alone after it, and then the stag stops to give him a special message that he never reveals, but is supposedly a divine message. So those are cool things, and maybe part of the symbolism that intentionally or unintentionally got slipped in there for deer. So that's cool.
And in Japanese poetry, I don't know a huge amount of Japanese poetry, I'll admit, but I do know that the deer's cry, because Japan is like 70% mountain. So most of the time, wherever you live, you're near mountain and thus near wilderness. And therefore, you will hear the deer. And it's a very common thing in autumn to hear the stags calling, because that's the thing that they do. And that becomes associated in Japanese poetry with sadness and melancholy and calling for one's lost love, as well as being a symbol of autumn. So I think the melancholy and calling for one's lost love might be where the deer clan symbolism comes from. That's a bit of a guess, because I am very much not an expert, but it's a thing I heard.
In general, samurai would not eat meat, including deer, but peasants can and do eat what Mitsu called it autumn leaves, which is what he called deer in Dragonlance, which I thought, to go along with the mountain tuna, you can eat autumn leaves, and probably do in most places where poaching is not forbidden, and a lot of places poaching is forbidden, so that they wouldn't eat there. It might be the samurai hunt deer under those circumstances and potentially leave it for the hymen to eat. We've seen places like where that has happened in fictions. Autumn leaves, a lunch of autumn leaves and mountain tuna.
Yeah. Shahai is noted as having a very distinct unicorn accent that Mitsu worries would be obvious and noticeable even to commoners in other lands. I don't know whether the unicorn specifically have this very distinct accent, because in theory, everyone's got an accent. So the worry could well be that you've got Daisetsu with his very distinct upper-class Otosanuchi accent. This is very clearly someone speaking like a noble, together with someone who's very clearly speaking like a unicorn. But he's particularly worried about Shahai's unicorn accent. So that's interesting. I would be interested to know whether or not the unicorn do have a very distinct accent, whereas other people can say, oh no, I can tell that person's from the south, I can tell that person from the west. Oh, but that unicorn accent, that really stands out.
I think that it's obvious you don't come from the U.S. because plenty of people in the U.S. will say, I don't have an accent.
Oh, they do. They say that. Everyone says that. And it's lies. But yeah, but I note that he wasn't worried about hiding his distinctive dragon accent, and he wasn't worried about hiding Daisetsu's distinctive capital accent. So that was interesting. The other thing I thought was amusing as a side effect, so she's been trying to hide that as part of their cunning disguise, which the Perfect Land people see through immediately, at least with Togashi Mitsu. It's like, I am Minoru, you're Togashi Mitsu, aren't you? Yes. Which I thought was, I'm just laughing at Mitsu today. But the side effect of, I must activate my amazing tattoos so I can see really clearly with my wolf tattoo and be incredibly stealthy. And, I don't actually need to fight these guys. Now I need to go get my cloak, which I threw off, so my tattoos.
Oh, that was very funny because when he broke into the room to go rescue them, he had taken off his cloak, taken off his shirt so that he could activate his tattoos. So he walks into the room. He's got dragon tattoos all over his body. He's this big muscle-bound guy. And
I'm in disguise. You
says,
don't know who I am.
I'm Minoru. And the Perfect Land Sect members are like, Ichiro, you're Togashi Mitsu. Because everybody in the whole empire has got to know.
Well, especially when you think about it, the son of the Mirumoto daimyo would know. And also Sato was a student of Kitsuki Shomon. So again, another dragon connection there. And so forth. But yeah, then I now have to go get my cloak, which is a little bit away in the snow. Being a Togashi, it's a burden. It's a complete burden.
All these dramatic reveals do have their cost. Anyway, we've talked in past fictions about the teachings of the Perfect Land Sect, but these are what really enthrall Daisetsu, because they tie in so much to what he's thinking right now. So, they teach about Shinsei, and they teach about the perfect land that Shinsei will take you to if you plead with him during your life by reciting the Kie, and then he will go to the perfect land and you can achieve enlightenment in the comfort of the perfect land. And right now, the reason it's so hard to achieve enlightenment on Earth, in Ningendo, is that this is the age of declining virtue, and it's the failings of the samurai specifically that are behind all of the empire's many woes. So Daisetsu is seeing from his own life and the artificial world that he has grown up in, the hypocrisy of the samurai, all right? And that latches straight into all the failings of the empire are because of the samurai, and it becomes pure fodder for his teen anger. And we know that this thing is just pure fodder for teen anger, because otherwise Ichiro wouldn't have, bailed on his dad and joined Perfect Land. So this is just a custom-built religion for angry teenagers.
Specifically angry, privileged teenagers.
Angry, privileged teenagers.
Yeah, because Ichiro was the son of the Mirumoto daimyo, so which is actually fairly high up when you think about it.
Oh, yeah.